How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at Scrub Games, and today we're going over the UKGE whole weekend event really, because we had two events. We had the Zenkai Cup on the Saturday and the Regional on the Sunday. Both huge events, both fantastic events, and just lovely to have in-person events in the UK. Like big events, this is the first one we've had all year, which is a shame, but hopefully BENTLEY can drop some more maybe. And first of all, we're going to go over the Zenkai Cup because it happened first on the Saturday. And before we get into that, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Helps the channel out greatly. It basically helps just support and know that people like having these videos brought out. And I try to make sure I covers any events in Europe if they're not covered by, say, the Lookout. And given this was a UKG one, I was there, able to get all the stuff, and want to just put it out as quick as possible so people can actually see what did well, and stuff like that. Now, do remember that this was still using the set 20 ban list because the new set 21 or 21 ban list doesn't start until that set is released. So even though there's some decks on there that will be banned, still nice to see what happened for the last event in the format, at least in Europe anyway. So with the Zenkai Cup, let's have a look and see what details we have for this. So it was a small one. I think it was capped at 64 maximum they could get in because they had a short area for it because they're running every games like One Piece and stuff like that on all the days, like different events. I think they had multiple events on each day. And so we're capped at 64, but we managed to only get 32 participants. There would have been 34, but there's an issue with getting the last two that kind of turned up a little bit late in there. But yeah, it ended up being just 32. And we had, because of that, only 5 rounds, so 5 nice rounds, and no top cut at all. It was just 5 straight rounds of Swiss, and then ended on that. And the format was best of 3 Swiss as well, so it's like a nice to have best of 3 in it. Like it's been a while since we played best of 3 games. It's normally usually been best of 1 pre-side, even though some of the other European events and other places have had best of 1 pre-side for their like in-person events and online events. But luckily for us, we managed to have best of 3 for our in-person event, which is fantastic. Like it's what you kind of love to see is that you would prefer to have online be best of 1 pre-side because is online, you want to get it done, and it's like you get a lot more people playing in those because people don't have to leave the house or spend money on travel and accommodation stuff like that. But when you get events in person, you prefer to have them best of 3 so you can join a full game and just enjoy playing the game. So luckily, thanks to OPE, they managed to set that up. And there was some everything, so overall it was a great event, but there were some technical issues due to the limited system they were using because um, it was kind of weird because they weren't using any like the stuff they're using had nothing to do with TCG Player. Like I know for like things like the raid and trade regionals we have, you have to have like it's connected to the Bandai TCG Plus app to get like you just put in your give them your number from that, like your player ID from that, and then put it into the system. That's how you access the system. But for this, they were using the limited system, which is what they've been using for other events as well. So it makes sense why they're using that. But then there were some issues when it came to because they had the brand new put on the Bandai games to be able to access it. So like putting in Decklists was a massive pain in the ass. And also there were technical issues as well due to that because with registration, and also because of that, 2 players, being the Castellan brothers, Gio and Francisco, they weren't able to take part, even though they came all the way after coming all the way down from like up from London to play in this event. They weren't even play. They did manage to at least get consolation and actually getting the participation stuff, but then they essentially drove up to not play because they were told at the start when they got there before, like when everybody was sat down, no player briefing, first round hadn't started or anything like that. Nothing actually started due to like the issues we were having, but they were able to turn up, and then we're told that they'll be able to sort them out to get them into it, sort them out with that, and then 5 minutes later, after just walking off and like leaving them there, not doing anything, they were then told, yeah, there's nothing they could do to put them in, even though the first round hadn't even started, not even the player brief or anything like that. So that was a shame for like someone to just come down and still have a chat and still like have the time to actually put back in or to start something started, even if they were allowed to be put in with a first round loss like I was, then that could have been a choice. So surely was an option because it would happen for me, but they were just not allowed at all to be put in. So that was a shame. So that was the kind of like thing for this, and then we have a look at the breakdown for the top cut. So 32 people, and only covering the top 8 for this event because it's a small amount. Whereas for the regional, we'd be covering the top 16 because it was well over 100 people. So for the Zenkai Cup, we had 7 different decks make the top 8, and that was 2 Expert Android 21s, 1 Spirit Bomb Goku, 1 SS4 Gogeta, 1 Golden Frieza, 1 Set 20 Android 21, 1 Bulma, and 1 Gamma. So as you'll see straight from that, there is a fair bit of blue, a fair bit of red, and some yellow. No green at all because green is kind of like gate kept, especially due to the new Android 21 and like the 2 top red decks. And then no black because it has a difficult time against some of the things like SS4 Vegeta, like Cumber having a really hard time against SS4. So 2 colors unrepresented, and the other 3 colors like almost a fair amount showing, with more dominant in blue because there's 4 blue decks and only 2 of the red and yellow. And as well, yeah, like you might notice there's no sin in this, because what we found, like a few of us were discussing, that sin seems to be a European thing, not a UK thing. Like not many people in the UK actually seem to like play or bring red sin. They more prefer, like if they have red, they more prefer to go cheetah because it's a deck that carries some players because it just draws a ton and has a really unfair boss monster, so that makes sense. And yeah, Sin we've seen like in the webcam regionals for like Rain Trade. There's a lot of Sin in that because it seems like more European players prefer the Sin for how aggressive it can be over say SS4, which is quite interesting as well. And also no Majin Vegeta either. There was no Majin Vegeta for the S4 the what was the Zenkai Cup. I think there were a few people playing it. I'm pretty sure there was some people playing for the with Majin Vegeta, but none of them managed to top, which is weird. Like managed to get through, but then again, once we get to have a look at who the top 8 were, you can see that there were a fair few players in it that are just you see quite often in the UK and EU doing well. So let's get have a look at the deck lists. So starting off with first place, we've got Oliver Simmons. Big O notation, as you may know him very well. Like managed to take it first place, going undefeated, going 5-0, and using one of his favorite decks for this format being Expert 21, like a nice little hand control deck with the nice little thing of bottom deck 1, please. And this is his deck they managed to take, so we go for the deck. And let's have a look. So we got this is his main deck, so we're not going to go over it in detail because the players are going to be going over, because imagine Ollie will be going over in depth about his list, going like a big like how the deck was, reasons for it, and everything like that. So I'll link that in the description. Anybody puts out a deck profile from this event, I will link it in the description so you can go and check out, because they'll have a more formal video on what they actually the reasons behind it rather than me. So this was his main deck. So that was the main. Then we have the side Z deck as well. So this is the Z deck. And then we have the side deck. So some interesting choices. And so if you're interested in NX21, this is the list. You can go ahead and also down in the description below. There's also a link to Deck Planet where I've put the deck list up, so you can go and use that if you want to check out the list without listening to this, or even upload it as Untap to play, because people still do use Untap. But if you do want to see a more in-depth description of it, like profile of it, then go and check out Ollie's channel. Remember, it's Big O Notation on YouTube. Go and check it. Sub him as well, because he goes over a lot of good stuff and some interesting decks too. And if he puts his deck profile out, I'll link it in the description below, so check down or just go to his channel. So with that out the way, let's go and check out number 2 in second place. So now we have second place being Michael Silk coming back to the game with his Spirit Boost or Spirit Bomb Goku deck. So this was the deck that took second, Spirit Bomb, and see all the different tech choices. And yep, just similar to this kind of like one thing with yellow is that they got the similar decks like Majin Vegeta, and yellow got the same kind of builds, main engine with like their separate little techs and stuff like that. Like this one having the Spirit Bomb, but then going for the number 1. So that was the main deck. Then we go for the Z deck, being only 6 cards as well for the Z deck, which is interesting. Maybe if one was not put in accidentally. on there. But I've seen there's only 6 on there, so it could have been one was just not put in because once again the limitless deck list submission was very odd. Like so many errors on the day for almost everybody. So it was that could have been the case. And then for the side deck, not recovering as much as possible to make sure you have like help for your like tougher matchups or to make certain matchups a little bit easier. And that is the second place. So we got on to third place. And we have third place with Corey Bentley taking his SS4 Gogeta. So as you can see, standard SS4 Gogeta, a nice little text in having a main decked copy of the Vegeta Unison, one of our favourite Unisons, one that our team -2 is named after, because it's such a fantastic Unison. That effect is Bowler. And there's interesting ones like Triple Combination too, which is quite cool. Then we go to the Z deck. So standard Z deck, the 4 rush attack, and then one of the Z lead, Vegeta, and the Goku the Burn. And on the side deck, just cards to help cover the matches, like Pilaf Missiles, one that's been popular in these decks because you try to get a Unison, keep it about, and it allows you to play it for free because you can draw a huge hand. The playing it for free and discarding 2 means does nothing to your hand size. So that is the Z deck. So that is third place. Now we're going to go and have a look at fourth place. So now we have fourth place, and it's none other than Peter Dance, Mr. Invoker himself, and he decided to take Golden Frieza as he thought, as I imagine it was interesting deck to take. I think it was his first time playing it for the weekend, well, first time playing it in the actual event for a weekend, and he ended up taking it very well, going to a fourth place in the Zenkai Cup as well. And you can see not much too spicy about the list. Well, not a lot of meta decks that really have much spice or any, well, no spice really, but just strong decks on tender. Interesting with the 3 copies of the Gohan. I've seen a lot of decks go 4 copies because that unit is just insanely good. But then that was the main deck, and then we're going to look at the Z deck. So Z deck's pretty good. 2 of the Vegeta, because the deck needs Awakeners. Goku, 2 of Goku, 2 of Vegeta, and 1 Oolong. And then with the side deck, helping you cover the tougher matchups, helping you with the matchups that you're not so great against, and giving you a little bit more of an edge against other matchups as well. So that's fourth place. Congrats to Peter, another Team 9 Life member in the top cut. So, well, 9 life, but then now at -2. And we're going to have a look at fifth place. So then we have fifth place being, I think, Farum M. That's the one thing with the limit system as well, is that you could put in either your actual name or username for it. So some people will probably be noted as usernames, whatever name's on there, because I don't actually know personally these people who it was, just go by the name, whereas some people I will know. And we have Farm with his new Android 21, and he went with a full 60 card build, which is interesting. I've not seen really, this is the first time I've seen an Android 20, well, a new Android 21 set 20 run 60 cards. But this is the list, so a lot of different ratios, a lot of 2-obs, a lot of 2-obs set choices. Some I've seen for casual ones, like the Brilliant Idea and stuff like that. Interesting tech choices, and yeah, everybody come up to 6th when apart from the first place when X1, and then 7th and 8th when X2. So this guy went X1 with his Android 21, and then we go to a Z deck, and because I've got flip it over, it's standard C deck. So it's interesting to see stronger together, but no BRS either. So, but then you don't need too much barrel removal when you've got an 8-drop. You can come down and then just wipe that board, or the secret rare to just absorb it all. Then on the side deck, tech choices. One interesting thing is that he did have in his list CHAHREMAND, the Ultimate Robot Fusion. Now this is from the same set, the draft box that had Koitsukai. So I'm not sure if he just put in the wrong name or how he put it in, because once again, this was well, a bit of a problem when it came to submitting deck lists. A few issues coming up with actually submitting it and stuff. So maybe this was meant to be Koitsukai, the 1-drop that most other decks are using in the side, but it could be a spicy tech thing you're trying to play, given that you can ramp and stuff and actually play this before. But it could also meant to be Koitsukai. So this was pretty interesting. And if you're watching, dude, let me know in the comments, because This is quite a funny thing. But that is 5th place. Then we go on to 6th place. And for 6th place, we have myself coming in with Bulma. Decided to take Bulma for the Zenkai Cup because I don't want to play the same deck over both weekends, spread myself out, which actually, yeah, it's a lot better to actually do this. And also, I've had a lot of fun with Bulma. It's been quite a fun deck, quite a strong deck as well. And even with the next format as well, it gets a little bit stronger because like I've never had an issue. I never had a chance to play against Red Sin with this deck to see how like potential difficult or how the matchup is. But I imagine it's not great for Bulma. And same with SS4. Like, you can have problems with S4. You can just clear your board because you've got no way to really stop the hold off the 8-drop, unlike things like blue and yellow with Vegito and stuff. So they can come down and just wipe your board and you have to survive it, but then you can loop super combos. But then, yeah, I've never had the chance. But then with those gone, Bulma is still a very strong red deck. So it'd be interesting to see how the format feels because there's some really good red decks that can come into the forefront now thanks to those two bans. So this was my main deck. So yeah, 52 in total I think it was. And then onto the Z deck. Standard one, I filled it up with the rush attack, standard ones that you normally have, and also the Ultra Instinct, just because you can get 2 swings of it, and then it restands for a blocker, and it's Barrier Deflect as well. And then we have the side deck as well, just to help deal with tougher matchups. And yeah, I do have a deck profile of Bulma if you want to check it out on my channel. So go and check it out. I'll even link it down below as well. And that is it for that deck. So then we go on to the 2 people that made 7th and 8th, going X2. And we'll start off with 7th place. So for 7th place, we have Tom Smith, aka Ira Torm from Team Deck Planet, who came 7th. And funny thing is, he tested a lot with Volley on X21 because they both love that kind of decks, because Tom loves his green deck and hand control decks. And the lists are actually identical, apart from I think it's just 2 changes. So the main deck is actually identical, the Z deck is identical, and the only difference is that there's a difference in ratios for Black Smoke and Gohan between the two. So Ollie with the 3 Black Smoke, 2 Gohan, whereas Tom has the 3 Gohan, 2 Black Smoke. That's the only difference. So there we go. Congrats, Tom. And then we go on to the last one, being 8th place. So in 8th place we have Tommy Crane from the Nottingham locals, and well, Nottingham area on the UK. And just say he does send his regards for this replacement and for playing this deck. And he came in with Gamma. So interesting deck, 50 cards at total, some interesting choices. I've seen a lot more playing this Android 13, as I'm assuming it's a turn 1 way to try and search your hit unison. He's playing the hit unison more than just playing the TMO, which I've seen has been a popular thing in Gamma, I think, to help with the new Android 21 matchup and stuff. So that's interesting. And going the Violent Predator, Secret Rare, and things like Turning the Toy and stuff like that. So this seems to be how Gamma was evolving to the later part of the format. So that is the main. Then we have the side, standard stuff for the side deck to help deal with even a Jiren in there, because you can push your multicolored deck, your green-blue. And in the side to help you with the matchups with some interesting things like Kale, which is pretty cool. So that is the end of the Zenkai Cup list of stuff. So now we're going to go ahead and check out what happened for the regional. So let's have a look at the breakdown for the regional that happened on Sunday. So we have also the regional. So it's 2 breakdowns we're getting in one for this weekend, because we had both the Zenkai Cup and the regional. And for the Sunday one, the regional is as follows. These are the details of it. So we had in total, I think it was capped at 128 because the amount of space they had in the regional at the venue, while also holding things like One Piece and stuff like that, Battle Spirits, and I think Digimon as well. So they had 4 games going at once. We had a cap on 128, but we managed to almost fill it up by at 120. I imagine it would have been a lot more. It would have actually filled up, I imagine, if we had the new pricing, because one thing with this is they didn't, due to a shipping delay, you can't see the air quotes, but they are there, we didn't have the new pricing with the Invoker stuff, because of the fact that shipping delays meant it didn't get to us, so we had to stick with back having the stuff we had before, like the Piccolo and Goku winners, the SS3 Goku winner card and stuff like that. So I imagine because of that and because of the train strikes on the weekend as well, meant that some people who probably wanted to go couldn't make it because of those issues or because it wasn't worth going to this event with the old pricing if you want the new pricing. But still, getting 120 despite that was fantastic. It also meant that we had it felt like a weird format, like with six, like it was similar. It was best of three Swiss, which is fantastic. I love best of three Swiss, especially for in-person events, not for webcam. But it was 6 rounds and then only a top two playoff, which I found was weird. Which yeah, it was odd. But then it did kind of make sense because at the end of it, there were only two undefeated, so you went off the pair playoff and playoff to see who'd won. So that's why you'll find with first and second, they've played one more round than the rest because they played a top two playoff, and also that was streamed as well. So I will try and see if I can find the Twitch link and link it down below. So if you want to watch the finals of the regional, then you can go ahead and do that. And also a little bit information about the event. It was a better day than the previous one, despite having less time at the expo, because on the Sunday it was closing a bit earlier than the Saturday and Friday, so we had less time on there. So it's like all crammed together. There's no lunch break like there was on the for the Saturday. So we literally, once the round finished, it's trying to as quick as possible start next round so we can get all in time because we don't want to end up not playing all the rounds and stuff. And there was no real errors outside of one little thing of scoring on Limitless, because by the looks of it, from what I remember being told is that and seeing is that from the Limitless app you get one win for a loss but nothing for a draw. You get one win for a win, sorry, you get one point for a win and nothing for a draw or a loss. But I think it was meant to be you get two for a win and one for a draw, nothing for a loss. And due to that issue of it just being one for a win and nothing for anything else, there was Giovanni, who is, as he said in his words, he's cursed. He ended up going 4-1-1 and was not put above the 4-2s. So he had 4 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss, and he was put in between the people who had 4 wins and 2 losses, and ended up putting outside the top 16 at 17th with his brother coming out to 18th. So yeah, special shout outs to the Castman brothers, Gio and Francisco. He just didn't have a good weekend, being not able to take part into Saturday for being a bit late, and also then like missing out top 16 by just 2 places, one each, like 17th, 16th. And even Gio like should have been in the top 16 at the height, like above the X2s, but the system just didn't. As funny thing was, our teammate Andre managed to take the place of where Gio should have been, and using his own the same deck as well, like his signature deck. So that is quite hilarious. But sorry to you, Gio. So that is the breakdown, and we'll see the top 16 list as well. So these is the top 16 list we have. Well, this is top 16 decks for the regional. So we can see that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different decks. That's pretty cool. 9 different decks. As you can see, it's a lot less dominant in a particular color. Like as the format evolved, like even though Red Sin and Gogeta are getting banned and are just aggressive and just like horrible to play against, and just like keeping a lot of decks in the format, people do like to like evolve and try to figure out decks that can beat them. And then like just that's how the format evolves. Like you get the best decks, and people try to figure out ways to beat the best decks to combat that for the next ones. And as a result, we have a like a massive difference in decks. We have, as you see, 6 yellows, and then 5 blue, sorry, 4 red decks, and then 1 green deck getting in because the player in this format. Because looking forward to the next format when green actually gets a bit of fresh air from not being oppressed by red. So, for the breakdown, we had 4 March Vegetas that made it. You had 3 SS4 Gogetas, as I said. SS4 Gogeta is more of a more popular one in the UK as a red deck than Sin is. Sin's more of an EU, like an EU one. We have 2 Export 21s making him. You can probably guess who those 2 are. We have 2 Gammas making it as well. Green Core as well making it through. And 1 Set 20 Android 21. 1 Spirit Bomb Goku. 1 Red Sen. And also a Golden Freeze as well. So that is the top 16 of the decks we got. So 9 different decks, not too dominant in any color, and well, not any color, but not any deck. And we'll also now have a look at the top 16 list for it. So let's have a look. So first up, we have for the UKGE Regional, we have first place once again, Oliver Sims, Big O Notation, taking it back-to-back wins for the weekend, both days with the same deck as well, so there's nothing more to go over his list. He will be doing a deck profile on it, because and it'd be a lot more in depth, and same main deck, same side deck, and same Z deck. So that is first place. Congrats to Ollie, Big Notation, repping Team -2 as the best team in the EU. And let's have a look at second place. And for seventh place, we have Joe Revel from Team TM Bill, another great team in the UK as well. And he managed to take in second, only losing to Ollie in the top 2 cup playoff with his golden cooler. So if people thinking that green was dead in the format, it is not, unless if you actually take the time to put effort into it like Joe did, and he pilots it very well as well. So this is his deck profile. He has done before this came out a deck profile covering his decks. If you want to go and check that out, click to the link below for it, which should be down there. Or go check out Team T and Bill on YouTube, and also go and sub to them. They're a great channel. They do a lot of good gameplays from the locals as well. So this was just quickly go, just main deck. Here's a sideboard, quite nice text in there with the forting. I saw him use the big and more to great effect in one of his games while passing, and the Z deck as well. Like not much to talk about the Z deck for green anyway. But yeah, if you want to check out get more in depth for his deck, go and check out his player profile, his deck profile he's done on the Team TM Bill channel. So yeah, good job, Joe. Now let's check out third place. So with third place, it was taken in once again by CORY Bentley, another UK player, and back-to-back, both third place in both events, which is very cool. Going with SS4 Gogeta, getting a last run before it got banned. Same list from both as the day before, so same list as on the Zenkai Cup. So same main deck, same side, and same Z deck with a nice little spicy thing of maining a Vegeta, which I saw him a few times. You actually put to work with, and triple combinations pretty cool as well. So that is third place. Let's check out fourth place. So for fourth place, we've got myself in fourth place, coming in with Maj and Vegeta. Pretty basic list, pretty standard. If you saw the deck profile from Mikey from our team, who won the last webcam locals we had with Maj and Vegeta, it's basically the same list, team list. And yes, this is the main board. Nothing too spicy really. I put Bergamo. I think did put in work. I did come down for one game, which was pretty cool. And yeah, just side deck, all the certain matchups, and then the Z deck as well. So that is it for fourth place. Then we go on to fifth place. So for fifth place, we have Adam Barnes with his S4 Gogeta. So this is the list for fifth place. So we got an interesting one as that as well, because we've got the split between the super combos of Raditz and Nappa, which is pretty cool. Go on facing the Android Terror, which I've seen some of them main. Also some interesting ones with the overalls being Man on a Mission and Otherworldly Infiltrator for some crit overarms, which is quite interesting to say the least. And then the rest of it's pretty standard for the stuff. Even main deck, we got main deck Quite Sky as well. Then onto the Z deck, we've got the standard one, just adding in a Android 17 Impeccable Defense instead of a 4th Rush Attack. But I know that sometimes there is these are the standard ones with multiple rush attacks, but then sometimes there's an extra Vegeta defending a life, say something up. So the extra tech choice was the Android 17. And for the side deck, pretty standard what you see in most red lists to deal with certain things. And yeah, that's it. So that is fifth place. So let's have a look at sixth. So in sixth place we have Rob from Team Bill. Their teammate putting quite a few slots, quite a few placings in the top 16, and he did it with the new Android 21. So this is the list for Android 21. So a split between the super combos with a draw one like Android 8 and then the Edge of Space. I imagine to have more deck profiles on the channel as well. So remember, if you haven't checked out Team Bill, go ahead and check them out. Great team, great channel, because I got some great content on there. And yeah, given the support, and I continue to put out good content for you to watch. And some interesting ones as well, like we got the Super Android 13 Unison that comes down, because you make tokens of things like Mandatory Gathering and to Audacity, and you can use the token to free play out a Unison, have that ready, and potentially use it to finish as well. And then standard things, something of some kinds like the Goku's Kamehameha, which is great. Like blue can use a great green counterplay like that, or counter attack. Down to the Z deck, just 3 and 2 on the Android 21 Z battle cards, then one Cell, one Virus. I know some do put Vegito, so it's interesting to see no Vegito in here, but then these ones are like the ones you really need. And in the side deck, got some Ever cards to help deal with certain matchups. Burnished Bonds to help deal with Golden Cool and stuff like that. Just standard side deck stuff to help you deal with certain matchups. So that is 6th place, and we have a look at 7th. So for 7th, we've got yet another TMT and Bill player in there, and that is Axel Bell. Like a great player, and also a lovely guy to play against. I always have fun when playing against Axel. And he came in with SS4 Go G, 7th place, going 5-1. And quite an interest. Well, nothing really like too spicy with the list. Just got some PLAF missiles in there as well in the main to help deal with like a nice little counter pair to go with the Unison, and a Hyper Rush, which we haven't seen in many lists recently since we got Broly Surge, well, the Broly Surging Attack and the Gohan. And then you got the heated Fighting Spirits as the overall choice, which is cool. Z deck, just standard like we've seen before. And in this side deck with some interesting ones, like some interesting text with like Gallic Cannon and stuff like that. So that's quite cool. Look out for a potential deck profile on the channel and go out and check it once again. Goes up to Team TM Bill. So that is 7th. Let's have a look at 8th. So in 8th place we've got Jed Whippy, another Bristol local who managed to get into the top 8, and once again also with Major Vegeta. So this is a pretty standard list, but also with a few, well, mostly a spicy list with like, well, it's technically both, isn't it? It's like a standard list with the Martial Meisters, and also with some spicy text, like using the Mirror, Create Absorb, Overwhelm, as well as the Secret ID, and also main decking a Death Blaster and things like that, and even mainly the Universe at Stake, but not using the UN #1, which is an interesting choice. And with this list, we then have the Z deck. Only 2 copies of Aura, but only one of each, like kind of teched out Z deck, because you can get multiple uses of the Goku, because you can use it under the Z lead, play it from the Z lead for 1, and then you can play another one, which then allows you to put the Boo under it, then play that for 1, which is pretty cool. And in the side deck, just basically side deck help to deal with certain matchups, with extra Death Blast and things like that. Pretty standard. So that is the top 8. Then we move on to the rest of the top 16, being from 9th to 16th. Start with 9th. So now with the rest of the top 16, we have 9th place being Tommy Crane, once again coming back to send his regards with Gamma for our last hurrah. And the same list from the Zenkai Cup, so not much for it to go over. We've seen the list, and just have a look. Same Z deck and the same side deck as well. So good job, Tommy. And once again, another Nottingham Locals resident coming in with the top cut. So then we move on to 10th place, and let's have a look at that. So in 10th place, we got yet another person coming in topping from also topped the Zenkai Cup as well, that being Michael Silk. Coming in with, once again, is Spirit Bomb, Goku, and Vegeta. Same list as I imagine. Well, yeah, it looks to be the same list as from the day before. Same Z deck and also same side deck. So once again, good job. Then we're going to go on and have a look at 11th place. So once again, we have another Gamma coming in 11th place, and this is piloted by Chris Putt. And some interesting text in this list. We can see we got the multiple one, which we haven't seen in many of these Gamma decks that you can play out. So you got enough synergy, and also the first one we've seen so far from this weekend that has the Ravagers to help search for this team up attack. So a bit more consistency we're using this Unison. Because I know some of them going on with the hit Unison for one that allows you to draw, plus also has a way to help you with the Android 21 matchup, or the new one at least. And then we got the Z deck. Pretty standard, like no rampy ones, but then you can't ramp with the Android 21 Z battle cards, and only multiples only of the Cell and the Vegeta being very good Z battle cards. Then the side, we've got the hits that you can got this tech in the side for the hit Unison with the inorganic Hara 13 to help search it. Kami Shackle, pretty standard for the good blue and green stuff you can put in to Gamma. So that is 11th place. Then we're gonna have a look at 12th. So here we are with 12th, And it's a never yet match Vegeta, because remember there are 4 of them in the top cut of this. And this one's quite an interesting one, because it's fairly different to the rest of them. For one, it doesn't run the Newfound Might, and another, it doesn't run the Martial Meister either. It's going for the Slug package with also the Planet Inherited Bloodline as a way to like barrier removal, which is quite cool. I haven't seen that for a while. Normally that's always seen with the Gohan from set 18 stuff. Also, using with the UR number 1, it's also got the full power Spirit Bombs on Goku as a way to get stealth room damage through, even under the Spirit Bomb. Well, not Spirit Bomb, the Dirty Burst. So quite an interesting list going with that tech as well, and also playing Steadfast, which we haven't seen many use. And yeah, quite a cool list. Managed to get the top 16. Then the Z deck, interesting enough with this. Like I know like if you're not running Newfound, the Oolong might be not as strong, but still, no Oolong is quite an interesting one because Arnold is one of the best Z battle cards. Well, yeah, Z battle cards for yellow, especially because you can copy something that's huge on the board, or even something that's got the most power, even if it's not your board, it's your opponent's board, to make it a huge beat stake for one. So it's interesting that it's not included, or even the Agent of Destruction Vegeta for a way of barrier removal into the Z deck. That is quite an interesting thing. To the side, you can see that he's siding in a Unison package with the Vegeta and the Gohan, and also some interesting one like Mutaito as well for an interesting side attack, and then yeah, some other standard ones aside in the Poutine. So that is that for 12th. Then we move on to the 13th list. So coming in the 13th place, and we've got another resident member of T-2 coming into the top cut, and that is Andre, our resident aggro player in all things of not testing and just building a deck before and then smashing it the day of. And he chose to go for Red Sin, literally building it the day before, and just trying to be as aggressive as possible to push through the tournament. And then it would go 4-2 as well, the highest 4-2, and yeah, giving the last send off for Red Sin as well. So nothing really spicy about all this. But we got the Intensifying Trunks and Zenkai to help be aggressive with Take Life instead of using the Sin promo, like we've seen some others do. Then the side deck, the Z deck, pretty standard. And the side deck is all things tech, like siding the Unison package if need be, insert where it's beneficial in some matchups, the Shoe for good counterplay, and then some Kings to help destruct or defend. So congrats Andre, really repping with Android with the T-2 dominance. So let's have a look at 14th. So with 14th, we move on to a different team, being Team Deck Planet, and we have Danny from Team Deck Planet, the Tattoo Journey, coming in with Golden Frieza, a deck he's been enjoying playing and kind of loves, and quite an interesting way how he's done it as well. Like seems pretty standard with most of it, and yeah, pretty standard really. Interesting, like he's also gone for a full 4 copies of both the Unisons, which is what you normally see a lot of people do, and with this extra cards, yeah, only 1 Tyrannical Blow, which is quite interesting, and only I could understand with the release from Evil and Time Magic at 1, but then Tyrannical Blow normally that's mained at like 2 minimum, like potentially 3. This is quite interesting on that. Then with the C deck, interesting, he's got the Gamma 2 in there, but also still got the 1 Oolong, but only 1 of the but still 2 at 8 the Vegeta for barrier removal. But it's interesting to know why the Gamma 2. And then we got the side deck, pretty cool with the Gohan, the power couple to help deal with these little cantrips that kind of harm you if you want to try and restand energy that's not using your like well, that restants energy during your turn and sacks it off. Then they help deal with like ramping decks and stuff like that, and quite some interesting tech, like quite standard decks really for the rest. So good job, Danny, wrapping the Deck Planet. And we move on to 15th place. So for 15th place, we got another person who's top both days. We have a fair few of those in this top cut, and that is Tom Smith from Deck Planet as well, Iratorum, coming in with the Expert 21. So the 2 Expert 21s be the same from the day before, because they are just really well versed in the deck. And the same list as before as well for today, same main, same side, and same Z deck. Like if you're doing it well with the first day, no need to change it for the second day really, and it just results show. So congrats Tom, good showing for Deck Planet. And then we move on to the last list of the top 16, So let's have a look at 16th. So for 16th place, we have the last of the Imagine Vegetas, the forward and topped. And once again, it's another member of Team TM Build. I'm showing with a great showing of most of the team in the top cut. And that is by Adam Porter. I think he's a really good player. Also came second in the Cardiff Fest from last year as well. Very nice player, very nice guy as well. And coming in with his Magic Vegeta, going in with the standard the list with using the Martial Meisters and stuff like that, like what most decks are using nowadays for Magic Vegeta, and also maining some Universe at Stakes as well, and also just like with Jed with the Death Blaster too. It's a pretty cool list. Then with the Z deck, also another deck that's not running Oolong. You'd be interested to know why no Oolong. I feel like Oolong is a staple in any yellow Z deck or any Z deck that can charge yellow, because it can just copy whatever the most powerful thing is on the board. And for one energy, copying something that's got say 30k power, 40k power is very, very good. Down to the side, some interesting different choices with the Z deck. We got the Alter in the Futures, the units in the side, which is quite cool, and some Cunnings as well to help deal with the End of 21, and then also some Dark Power about my saying as well, which is pretty cool. So, yep, so that is the top 16. So that is all top 16 lists. They're all from the regional and all the top 8 lists from the Zenkai Cup. Links are to the Deck Planet deck lists are in the description below, and anytime any of these players put up a deck profile or a deck profile is out on another channel for their list from the day, I'll be adding that to the description as well. So if you want to check out, keep looking back if you're looking through this, to look back to see if you can find them, and then you can have a look at the players actually going over the decks themselves. So once again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown from the event. I keep trying to do it, make sure any event from the EU is posted out, and also for the UK too, because remember, we're not part of the EU. And thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.